Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be out here, as usual, bringing this message of self-realization to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover your identity to be your divinity. That's the reason why I always speak to you concerning the metaphysical meaning of the Bible and how to interpret the Bible psychologically. Because the basis of my teaching is that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That it is not literal, neither is it secular history. Also, that the Bible is written symbolically and it have no reference to anyone that existed thousands of years ago or to any actual event that took place upon earth thousands of years ago. I always teach you that it's all a psychological drama. From Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, it all have to do with the human psyche. Therefore, this morning I choose to speak to you concerning how to conquer or overcome your Jericho walls, or the walls of Jericho. And this scripture is in Joshua chapter 6, where it tells you that when the children of Israel crossed over into the promised land, that the first place or the first city they had to conquer was Jericho. Now we're going to break that down for you and let you know that Moses actually meant to be born and to cross over into the promised land is to come to know your higher self, to know who you are. And it tells you that Joshua took over from Moses. Joshua is the higher self. It is when you cross over into that place of self-realization, knowing that you are royalty, knowing that greatness is within you, knowing that you can possess whatever you want to possess, then you understand what it means when you speak about Joshua and Caleb saying, "Give me my mountain." You know you know your rights. You know that prosperity, abundance, all these things, that they are your birthright. It's like the prodigal son. So all of these things are basically teaching you one story, and that story is actually your biography. So yes, it speaks about Joshua, your higher self, and how he was given commandments of how to overcome Jericho. Now we have to look and see what is Jericho. Remember, as I tell you, it all have to do with your mind. So when you have a carnal mind, you are intellectual, or you take on the conformity of the world, it puts you in a box. It puts you in like a prison. It puts you in a place of defense where you want to defend your so-called religion. You want to defend your so-called false identity. You want to so-called all the things that you learn from your parents, your teachers, your pastors, your politicians, and all of these things which I would have just mentioned as conformity. And so, you being a child of Israel, and Israel mean to rule as God. El is God. Some people say the IS is Isis and Ra and El. But when you break it down, it just means to basically to rule as God. Do you understand? For it is about you understanding your higher self. So when you come in to that place, then you are instructed, because you're learning now to trust your intuition. You understand your intuition to be your inside teacher. And then you are commanded of how to overcome. And this is the main part I want to get to you. It is teaching you here about the power of repetition. It is showing you here how to reprogram the subconscious mind, to break all the intellect, to break all of the things that have been keeping you limited. All of the things that have been keeping you in a place of mediocrity. It's teaching you now how to break down the walls. It is teaching you now how to trample your enemies. And the enemies are your very own thoughts that are keeping you captive. Your own thoughts that are keeping you in limitation. So he's saying 7 times. 7 is speaking about completion. It is teaching you of manifestation. It is teaching you how you have to break down the walls so that you can manifest, so that you can bring forth. But there must be an overcoming. You have to declare a war against the carnal mind. So yes, my brother, my sister, the first thing you have to do when you come into your promised land, when you come into that place of knowing who you are, is that you must overcome the wall of Jericho that is blocking you. Some people call them energy blockers. So when you look at the internet, you see many people teaching law of attraction and all of these things that they're talking about energy blockers, are things that are blocking you. These things are written right in the Bible. But in order for you to understand, you have to come to realize that the Bible is not a religious book. You will have to come to understand that the Bible is an instructional book of science, teaching you how the mind works, because it's mind science. So yes, as I was saying, when you understand what 7 is all about, and understand that Sabbath means rest, and you understand it's coming in to a place of joy and peace and happiness because you're seeing your creation. Because when you see a manifestation, you no longer have a desire for that creation because you see the creation has already taken place. It is done. It is finished. Even in the physical, when a man and a woman is in the act of sacred energy exchange, which is sex, when the creative process is finished by a climax or by reaching a high point of ejaculation, let me put it that way, of ejaculation, then the desire leaves. It tells you about that in the Bible in Genesis, I think it's 32 around there, with Jacob, where he talk about the soft part of the thigh, it shrinks because the desire has been met. It's been fulfilled. So yes, my brother, my sister, that's why I'm talking about 7, because it is teaching you the law of repetition. How you need to repeat the same thing over and 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 over. That's how you create. And then the first thing we form will be an atom. Because in the Bible it is speaking about atom and electrons. Where people think it is speaking about Adam and Eve. It's atom and electrons. Because we are electrical and magnetic beings. And when you start to create, you are using an invisible substance. And that invisible substance that you are using, you're doing it by faith. By using your imagination. Because the imagination is the creator in man. So when you pull on that invisible substance, you move to the next step of putting what? Action. So instead to march around the wall of Jericho, teaching you also action. So from thought to action. Then when we come to 7, it's manifestation. It's the reaping of your harvest. So yes, everything in the Bible is basically teaching you this principle of how you should create. How to prove that God is real and that God is in you. That the Creator is in you and that you are the Lord and Master of your own destiny and that you can create your reality consciously. So my brothers and my sisters, my encouragement to you is to use your mind power, your creative power to conquer your Jericho walls. Every situation, every problem, every self-doubt, that's a devil. That's a demon. You have to conquer all of these things. You have to conquer every giant. Because it is time for you to claim your birthright. Because you have come into the place of the promised land. and you are Joshua. So my brother, my sisters, I just want to encourage you to be strong, to be bold, and whatever you set your mind to, if you would believe and be conceived, then you will bring forth that pregnancy. You will not take an abortion by having doubt and fear, but you will bring it to pass, and you will realize the fulfillment of the prophecy, because you had a vision. Okay, so my brother, my sisters, I just want to encourage you, if what I'm saying here, if it is resonating with you, then it is for you. And if you haven't subscribed already, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, like, comment, share this video, because most people still believing that the Bible is literal and that it is secular history. But as I would have said before to you, it addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. But most of all, I want to let you know that this message I bring to you, it is the single eye message of self-realization, which Matthew 6:22 says, if your eye be single, your whole body be full of light. And my brother, my sisters, hadn't it been that I would have awakened within myself like a fiery being and hauled the unhauled wind and ascend up on high after the opening of that single eye within me, and came out through my skull and became invisible, I would not have been here teaching you of the invisible. That's how I come to realize that unless you be born again, you cannot see the kingdom of God, and that there's no one who could teach you of the invisible, and they have never become invisible. When they do that, they're doing it from the intellect. That's the reason why all these Jericho walls of denomination and religion and secular Christianity must fall at our feet when we depend on our imagination and depend on our creativity. That's the reason why I always give you the symbol of the single eye, and reminding you that when you see my hands above my crown chakra, it is the single eye above the pyramid, because from your shoulder right here to above you here is a pyramid, and from your shoulder down to your waist it's another pyramid, and from your waistline down to the sole of your feet it's another pyramid. It's called the Chi of Life in the Kabbalah. That's the reason why I always give you the symbol of the single eye, saying to you, according to Matthew 6:22, if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. And when you have the experience, you come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun is the giver of all life, and the Bible refers to the sun as the Lord thy God, and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And in Malachi 4:2 it also says that the sun, as in the S-U-N of righteousness, shall arise in you with healing in his wings. That's the reason why when we look around, we see that it is the sun that it powers all of humanity. Therefore, my brother and my sister, I say to you, the sun parallels the human imagination, the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. Therefore, my encouragement to you is to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your creative power, your God power, to achieve your every desire. So that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.